Welcome to another deep dive. We're going to be digging into transformational leadership today, and specifically focusing on a concept from Dr. Joshua Kolawole's book, Transforming the Impossible.
Okay.
It's called The Laughing Mind.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people might hear that and think this is about being like a comedian or something.
Right.
But we're talking about cultivating a certain mindset for leadership.
Yeah, exactly. And you sent over some excerpts from chapter 6 of the book, and it's fascinating stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive in.
Me too.
So we're lucky to have an expert joining us who spent years studying how positive emotions impact individuals and teams.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So let's just jump right in. What is the real meaning behind the laughing mind? It's not just about, telling jokes at work, right?
Right. It's so much deeper than that. It's really about this idea of approaching challenges with a sense of possibility, with a sense of optimism. Dr. Kolawole really emphasizes that these positive emotions we're talking about, things like joy, gratitude, even laughter, these are powerful tools for transformation.
It's like an internal shift that then impacts how you view the world and how you lead.
Exactly. It's about leading with energy and enthusiasm, and this is something Dr. Kolawole suggests can be cultivated.
I see.
If you think about it, to lead through change, you need to be able to see the potential even when other people don't.
Yeah.
You need to stay motivated when things get tough, and you got to be able to inspire other people to do the same.
And to stay motivated yourself.
Right.
Now, there's a quote that you highlighted from the book that I think really gets at the heart of this, and it's from Jennifer Aker and Naomi Bagdonas.
Oh, yeah.
They say, "Choose to live on the precipice of a smile. It's a beautiful image, and it really speaks to me about the ripple effect of positivity."
Yeah, they actually go on to say, when we do, we create teams, communities, and families where joy and laughter come more easily.
I love that.
So it's about setting the stage for more collaboration, a more innovative environment. And it all starts with that internal shift, that choice to cultivate the laughing mind.
Okay, so starting from within.
Right.
And this makes me think about all those larger-than-life leaders that we all know who just seem to have this infectious optimism, like Richard Branson, for instance, or Stephen Wozniak. These guys just exude this laughing mind.
They really do. Branson with his adventurous spirit and emphasis on fun, and Wozniak with his, playful approach to technology. They both really exemplify this idea of leading with positive energy.
Yeah, and speaking of Wozniak, there's this quote from him in the book that is so simple, but it just really stuck with me. He says, "Happiness equals smiles minus frowns."
Wow, that's so true.
It really drives home the point that, cultivating the laughing mind is a choice. You're actively choosing to look for the positive and minimize the negative.
Yeah, it's not about ignoring the negative, but it's about focusing on what you can control, which is your own mindset.
That's so powerful. And I think a lot of our listeners might be thinking, okay, that's great for Richard Branson. He can, jump out of airplanes and have hot air balloon adventures and have all this fun. But how do I do this? I'm not a tech giant. I'm not leading a global company. What are these guys actually doing that we can learn from?
Yeah, that's a great question. Look at Branson. He's known for celebrating even small successes. He encourages a company culture that doesn't take itself too seriously. And then Wozniak, he talks a lot about surrounding yourself with positive people and finding joy in simple things.
I see.
So their approaches might be different, but the underlying principle is the same. It's about choosing positivity.
So find your own authentic way to bring more joy and optimism into your leadership style.
Yeah, exactly. And that kind of brings us to a really crucial point in the book, which is this contrast between the laughing mind and negative emotions.
Right, because he doesn't shy away from the negative stuff.
No, he doesn't.
He gets into how things like, anger, bitterness, fear, all these things can actually sabotage your leadership.
And he gives some pretty vivid examples.
Oh, yeah. He talks about, team members quitting because they can't stand their colleagues, people becoming disgruntled with leadership, just an overall lack of cooperation. It really paints a picture of how negativity can just poison a work environment.
And, think about what those negative emotions create. It's like a breeding ground for distrust and resistance to change.
Yeah, you can't build anything meaningful on that kind of foundation.
It's like trying to build something beautiful with crumbling bricks. It's just not going to work.
It's not going to hold.
Yeah. And I'm curious, have you ever experienced this yourself? Being on a team where negativity just sucks all the energy out of the room.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's amazing how quickly that can spread and just derail progress.
It's so common. And that's why Dr. Kolawole dedicates a significant portion of this chapter to actually outlining strategies for fueling the laughter, as he puts it. Mastering the art of keeping those positive emotions burning bright.
Yeah, and he gives us 6 specific ways to do this.
He does.
He talks about placing priority on internal growth and developing the strength to handle offenses and setbacks. He also mentions mastering your emotions, being careful with gifts and accolades, and evaluating the emotional intelligence of your team.
Right, and taking responsibility for your actions and inactions.
And positioning yourself for excellence.
It's a powerful toolkit. And it's interesting how he talks about prioritizing internal growth.
Yeah.
Because he emphasizes how important it is to invest in your own mental and emotional development.
Okay.
Being mindful of your surroundings and even being selective about the company you keep.
I thought that was particularly interesting, that idea of surrounding yourself with the right people.
Right. He specifically cautions against surrounding yourself with friends who are driven by external validation and those superficial values.
It's about prioritizing genuine connection over shallow relationships.
Exactly. He asks you to consider the people that you spend the most time with. Do they inspire you? Do they lift you up? Or do they drain your energy and just reinforce those negative patterns?
So choosing who you surround yourself with is actually a crucial step in cultivating the laughing mind.
I think so. It's about creating a support system that encourages your growth and reinforces that commitment to positivity.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And another strategy that stood out to me, especially in a leadership context, was this idea of learning how to effectively handle offenses and the word no.
Yeah, he has a really striking phrase for that, right? He talks about developing immunity to negativity and criticism.
Yeah, he even suggests deleting emails and text messages that contain offensive information.
It sounds a little radical at first.
Yeah.
But he's not saying we should bury our heads in the sand and ignore problems. It's about choosing what we allow into our mental space. We can't control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond.
So protecting your energy and focus as a leader.
Exactly. As a leader, you're going to face difficult people and situations. It's unavoidable. But it's how you react to those challenges that's going to define your leadership style.
Yeah. Do you let it derail you, or do you see it as an opportunity for growth?
Exactly.
And he also recommends limiting the complications of emotional pettiness around you.
Which is easier said than done sometimes.
Sure. Especially when you're leading a team with diverse personalities.
Right. But think about it. If you're constantly reacting to every minor annoyance, you're going to be exhausted and ineffective as a leader.
Yeah.
Learning to let go of those small things and focus on the bigger picture that's essential for maintaining a positive and productive mindset.
Okay, so pick your battles.
Exactly.
And that brings me to this really interesting analogy that he uses. He compares being careful with gifts, accolades, even praise, to the Trojan horse.
Oh, yeah?
Why is he bringing this up in the context of the laughing mind?
It might seem a little counterintuitive at first,
Yeah.
but it's about recognizing that even positive reinforcement can have unintended consequences.
It's like, don't get too caught up in the good stuff.
Right.
But I think what he's getting at is maintaining a balanced perspective.
Yeah, you're right. He's not saying we shouldn't enjoy recognition or appreciate gifts, but leaders especially need to be aware of how these things can sometimes cloud their judgment or create a false sense of security. Like, have you ever received praise that felt insincere or manipulative?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we've all been there. And it can be incredibly disarming. Leaders with a strong, laughing mind, they're grounded in their values and their purpose. They can enjoy the good without letting it inflate their ego, and they can learn from the bad without letting it deflate their spirit.
Yeah.
They can see through those distractions and stay focused on what truly matters.
Okay, so it's about not letting those external things define you.
Right.
Now, he also suggests that leaders should continually evaluate the emotional intelligence of their team.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly does he mean by that?
Well, it's about being really attuned to the emotional landscape of your team. Are people generally positive and supportive, or is there a lot of negativity and conflict?
I see.
Are people able to manage their emotions effectively, or do they tend to react impulsively?
Okay, so it's not about, judging individuals, but it's about creating a culture where emotional intelligence is valued and nurtured.
Exactly. And that might involve providing specific training on emotional intelligence, fostering open and honest communication, or simply modeling those positive emotional responses yourself as a leader.
Yeah.
It's about setting the tone and creating that ripple effect of positive energy.
I like that ripple effect of positive energy. And he talks about minimizing the impact of sabotage from any team member to preserve joy and peace and stability in the workplace.
Right. He also talks about how the transformation of systems is a product of teamwork, which in turn is linked to a team's intelligence, diligence, coherence, and the transformation of team members' hearts.
Yeah, it's that interconnectedness.
Exactly. You can't create positive change in a vacuum. It takes a collective effort, and that requires a really deep level of trust, collaboration, shared values within the team.
So transformational leadership isn't just about directing others, but it's about fostering that sense of shared purpose and empowering everyone to contribute.
Absolutely. And he goes on to emphasize personal responsibility, not just for our actions, but for our inactions.
Right.
Owning our mistakes, learning from them, and letting go of blame.
And he even says, do not blame anyone for negative outcomes. Learn from them and take responsibility for not picking it earlier and for fixing them. Do not lose your happiness or joy over poor outcomes. See life as an opportunity to learn and grow. Each day is another privilege to start over again with an improved mind to achieve a better outcome.
Powerful stuff.
It really is. It's that reminder that we have a choice in how we respond to challenges.
And he encourages us to enjoy the ride even amidst the inevitable ups and downs.
Yeah.
Choose to find meaning and gratitude even when things are tough.
Okay, so we have a choice in how we respond to things. And then the last strategy that he outlines is to position yourself for excellence and find joy in witnessing the transformation around you.
It's a beautiful concept, isn't it?
It is.
It's about finding satisfaction in the process of growth and positive change.
Both in ourselves and those we lead.
Exactly. It's about setting high standards, celebrating achievements, and recognizing that the journey is just as important as the destination.
And to do that, he lists building competence in others, promoting a sense of worthiness, and maintaining discipline as important steps.
Yeah, those are cornerstones of effective leadership. It's about empowering others, fostering that culture of excellence, and remaining committed to the vision even when you encounter obstacles.
And he encourages leaders to, avoid those behaviors that can really undermine a team's unity.
Right, things like gossip and backbiting and forming cliques.
Yeah. He also goes on to say that transformational leaders should encourage development, transparency, a commitment to serve as continuous learning, and they should celebrate achievements.
It's about creating an environment where people feel valued, respected, and empowered to contribute their best.
Yeah.
And that's a fertile ground for innovation and positive change.
And he ends with give 100%, regardless of whether you get anything in return.
Powerful stuff.
It really speaks to the mindset of a truly transformational leader.
Yeah, it's not about keeping score or seeking personal gain, but about leading with generosity and a genuine desire to make a positive impact.
So the laughing mind isn't just about individual happiness. It's about creating this ripple effect of positivity that can transform entire teams and organizations.
You got it. And it's an ongoing journey, not a destination.
Not a destination. Well, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive.
We have.
And before we move on to the next section where we're going to delve into even more practical strategies for cultivating the laughing mind, I want to just pause for a moment and reflect. What's resonating with you the most from what we've talked about so far?
Well, it's amazing how interconnected all of these concepts are. We've talked about prioritizing internal growth, handling offenses effectively, and the, unexpected pitfalls of praise. It highlights how much conscious effort actually goes into cultivating the laughing mind.
Yeah, it's not just about, slapping on a smile and pretending everything is fine. It's about building a mental and emotional toolkit for navigating the ups and downs of leadership.
And life.
And life, yeah, absolutely. And we've covered a lot, but there's more to explore.
There is.
Dr. Kolawole outlines these 6 powerful strategies for fueling the laughter, and I'm curious to unpack a few more of those with you.
Let's do it. We touched on mastering your emotions and, being cautious about letting praise or gifts sway your judgment.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating how he uses that analogy of the Trojan horse to illustrate this point. It really emphasizes that even seemingly positive things can distract us from our goals if we're not careful.
Yeah, it's like, don't let your guard down even when things seem good.
Exactly. And he ties this into the importance of constantly evaluating the emotional intelligence of your team.
Right.
It's about being aware of those emotional undercurrents, noticing if negativity is creeping in, and addressing any dysfunction, promptly.
Yeah, so it's proactive.
Yeah.
It's not just about reacting to problems, but creating an environment where they're less likely to arise in the first place.
You got it.
Okay.
And he suggests being observant, pay attention to each team member's personality, their lifestyle, even their vulnerabilities.
Okay.
It's not about being intrusive, but about understanding what might trigger negative behaviors and having strategies in place to navigate those situations effectively.
Right, and then he goes on to say that the transformation of systems depends on the team, and the team's intelligence, diligence, coherence, and the transformations of the team members' hearts are all connected.
It's all interconnected.
It is.
You can't create positive change in a vacuum, It takes a collective effort, and that requires a deep level of trust, collaboration, and shared values within the team.
So transformational leadership isn't just about directing others, but it's about fostering that sense of shared purpose and empowering every member of the team to contribute their best.
Absolutely. And he goes on to emphasize personal responsibility, not just for our actions, but for our inactions.
Right.
Owning our mistakes, learning from them, and letting go of blame.
Yeah, and I love this quote where he says, "Do not blame anyone for negative outcomes. Learn from them and take responsibility for not picking it earlier and for fixing them. Do not lose your happiness or joy over poor outcomes. See life as an opportunity to learn and grow. Each day is another privilege to start over again with an improved mind to achieve a better outcome."
So powerful.
It's that reminder that we have a choice in how we respond to challenges.
And he encourages us to enjoy the ride, even amidst those inevitable ups and downs. Choose to find meaning and gratitude even when things are tough.
So we have a choice in how we respond to things. And then that last strategy that he outlines is to position yourself for excellence and find joy in witnessing the transformation around you.
It's a beautiful concept.
It is.
It's about finding deep satisfaction in the process of growth and positive change.
Both in ourselves and those we lead.
Exactly. Setting high standards, celebrating achievements, and recognizing that the journey is just as important as the destination.
Yeah. And to do that, he lists building competence in others, promoting a sense of worthiness, and maintaining discipline as important steps.
All cornerstones of effective leadership. It's about empowering others, fostering that culture of excellence, and remaining committed to the vision even when you're facing obstacles.
And he also encourages leaders to, steer clear of those behaviors that can really undermine a team's unity.
Right. Things like gossip malice forming those divisive cliques.
Yeah, and he also goes on to say that transformational leaders should encourage development transparency, a commitment to service continuous learning, and celebrate achievements.
He's essentially saying it's about creating an environment where people feel safe, valued, and inspired to contribute their best. It's about fostering a sense of shared purpose and creating a culture where everyone can thrive. And he ends with give 100% regardless of whether you get anything in return.
Yeah.
Powerful stuff.
It is. It really speaks to the mindset of a truly transformational leader.
It's not about keeping score or seeking personal gain, but about leading with generosity and a genuine desire to make a positive impact.
Right.
It's about understanding that true success is about so much more than individual achievement. It's about creating a ripple effect of positive change that extends far beyond ourselves.
These strategies for fueling the laughter are so practical and insightful. What's resonating with you the most? What feels particularly relevant to our listeners' situation?
I think that emphasis on emotional intelligence is key. Whether you're leading a team, a project, or just navigating a personal challenge, being aware of your own emotions and the emotions of those around you can make a huge difference.
And it's not just about recognizing those emotions, but understanding how they impact our behaviors, our decisions, ultimately our ability to lead effectively.
Exactly. And Dr. Kolawole reminds us that emotions are contagious.
Yeah.
Negativity can spread like wildfire, but so can positivity.
Right.
When you cultivate the laughing mind, you're not just improving your own outlook, you're creating a ripple effect that can transform entire teams and organizations.
So as we prepare to wrap up this deep dive into the laughing mind, let's take a moment to pause and reflect. We've explored the concept, we've delved into specific strategies, and now it's time to connect this all back to you, our listener. How do you see this concept applying to your own life? Welcome back to our deep dive into the laughing mind. We've explored the concept and its power in transformational leadership, and we even went through some specific strategies from Dr. Kolawole's book for cultivating this mindset.
Yeah, it's been a great conversation.
It really has. We've moved from the theoretical to the practical, and it's so exciting to see how all of this applies to everyday life.
It really is for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. As we wrap up, what are some key takeaways you think our listeners should hold on to?
Well, for me, the biggest one is that, cultivating the laughing mind, it's an act of choice. It doesn't just happen passively. It requires self-awareness effort and a commitment to personal growth.
Okay.
And we're not talking about, denying challenges or pretending everything's perfect. It's about approaching those challenges with resilience, optimism, a focus on solutions.
Right, and Dr. Kolawole gives us a roadmap for doing just that. He doesn't just tell us to be positive, he gives us specific, actionable strategies.
He does. We talked about prioritizing internal growth, developing emotional intelligence, surrounding yourself with positive influences. All practical steps for cultivating the laughing mind and becoming more effective leaders.
And we've seen how those individual efforts could really create a ripple effect.
Yeah.
When you lead with positivity and joy, it impacts those around you.
Absolutely. You set the tone. You create a culture where people feel empowered to do their best. And you remember that transformation, it's a collective journey.
Now, as we bring this deep dive to a close, I know you have a final thought-provoking question for our listener.
I do think about one aspect of your work or personal life where you could embody the laughing mind more fully.
Okay.
What would it look like to approach that situation with more joy, more gratitude, and a belief in the possibility of positive change?
What a powerful question. It challenges us to take these concepts and put them into action.
It's easy to get caught up in the theory, but the real magic happens when we apply what we've learned.
Yeah.
That's when the laughing mind truly becomes a force for transformation.
Well, this has been a truly insightful exploration of the laughing mind. I hope our listener feels as energized and inspired as I do.
Me too. It's been a pleasure sharing these ideas.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep laughing. Till next time.